Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are on this fine planet. This is Para. I am coming to you today with a follow up episode of the Manosphere episode for the video review portion of my channel. I am sad to say that even though it was a live coverage, at the end of the video, you couldn't hear me. I don't know what happened. I'm new at this. There was technical difficulties. So please bear with me. You know, like, comment, share, subscribe. But yeah, so I'm doing a follow-up, not a follow-up to that particular video or that day. I'm not going to cover that video, that is. I may in the near future, because no one can hear me, but you can hear them. And if anyone heard that live stream, I was double team, tag team, so maybe I'll go over it for clarification. But to give you some background on the purpose of this video, but let's do the obligatory acknowledgement of the fair use clause on the screen. Fair use for anything in this video. It's all for learning purposes. Nothing's monetized. I make nothing off of this. So, to give you some background, I stumbled across the Manosphere by way of Green Gorilla holding a live stream in defense of Kanye West. And in that live stream, I only asked him and his group of Manospherians to not let Kanye, or don't defend Kanye singling out one group of white people. And what's so coincidental about this follow-up episode is that I want them to focus on opponents that they should focus on, which will settle matters in this black male female conflict. If you want to call it a conflict, they call it a gender war. If you want to solve this gender war, then apply that same tactic that you allow Kanye to use, which I didn't agree with. It was stupid. Apply that tactic that you supported with Kanye to the Manosphere, because there are direct opponents you could go after. And today I'm going to cover an opponent that's been around for at least 10 years. That's a whole decade. I'm sure she has hours upon hours of just content, and she has a passive income of at least $100,000 a year, at least. And the person's name is Tanya TKO. And the irony of all of this is, I've said this in other broadcasts, God will push you in a necessary direction. So I stumbled across one of her videos, and it really struck a nerve. And it's in, the same, arena, or it's under the same umbrella as the Manosphere's complaints. The video will explain itself. But, these guys, like I said, I think they just want to bicker and just argue. And hey, if that's your thing, do that in private, man. Don't share that with the world, okay? Because I go way back into this whole, black female, black male, issue. That's why I will call it. It's not a conflict. It's an issue. There's always been issues between men and women, no matter the race. So it's just an issue. I go way back. Man, they had a black female and male course in my high school. I went to high school with a black studies department, so they had that course, and I didn't even take the course, but I actually would just hang out in the class because I knew the teacher. and the teacher liked me, and I would chime in. So I've been a lot of the stuff these guys talk about is really outdated. And when I hear it, I'm like, this is old shit. This is really old shit. And that's why I believe BGS radicalized Kevin Samuels. Because Kevin Samuels was a baby eating steak. He wasn't ready for that knowledge because his region isn't at that stage where they could deal with what BGS has to offer, because BGS is from California. And when I talk about, or what I just spoke of at my high school, that was in California. So this issue has been a long, running issue. A long time ago. And for me, when they speak to me, they don't realize they're speaking to a man who confronted Terry McMillan as a kid, who was at Angela Davis's lectures, and afterwards, while they're snacking on little niblets, I'm questioning Angela Davis's comments, which were very underhanded slaps or backhanded slaps to black men. Or a lot of times it was like a backhanded compliment. So when they talk to me, they're talking to somebody who's been talking about this since he was a kid, literally since middle school. I could really say since middle school, I've had these discussions. So most of the stuff these people say, I've been over the whole, damn near my whole life. Even when I look back on before high school and before middle school, when I was a little kid, the first time I was ever slapped in the face, it was by a black girl who I considered my play sister. So it was this thing has been in my life forever, nigga. I always tell girls, this all the time, whoever I mess with, I tell them, no matter what you do to me or try to do to me, I was raised by Yoda. You are a Padawan when it comes to that black that shit. Okay, I was raised by Yoda. Okay, so it's this is old news for me. So when I see these guys online just bickering, I'm like, you niggas sound like them dumb niggas, at different events, complaining about how they're not getting any play instead of going out there and just talking shit to a bitch and getting her number. And I wasn't the best at it, but I did my thing. I tried. But then you had groups of guys that didn't even try, but they still want to bitch. And that's what they remind me of. It's a bunch of bitchy motherfuckers. That's why I'm suggesting for them to focus their sights. Because not all women are the problem. Not all black women, particularly black American women, all of them are not the problem. Not all of them. All of them perfect, or even most of them? No. Most women in any group is not perfect, man. You're not going to find that shit. So what the fuck? You got to do what you got to do. Unless you want to be pussyless and shit. The fuck? And anyway, I look at it as a form of psychosis for black men to say, I don't want to date black women. That's a form of psychosis to me. Okay? And it goes against the laws of nature. If you look at, any species, they will normally breed and mate with someone in their pedigree. Okay. And, let's break it down from species to pedigree. Let's use dogs. Most dogs are going to breed with their pedigree. Okay. That's just what it is. The only time you'll see them breed outside their pedigree was way back in the day when you had a bunch of stray dogs in the neighborhood. Before they start euthanizing dogs every day, you had stray dogs in the neighborhood. And then you'll see a stray dog that's one breed and then another breed. And then they got their little pups that's half breeds. That's when they usually, go outside their pedigree. But if you have a dog that found a dog that's in their pedigree, those two dogs are going to reproduce more likely than, the dogs are two different pedigrees. And for any species, or in this case, for any pedigree of dog not to reproduce with itself is actually, asking for extinction, or a breeding out of your own ethnicity. For human beings, it's ethnicity. So what these guys are proposing is a form of erasure, extinction to your own ethnicity. It doesn't work that way. So it makes no sense to me, and that's why I'm like, what are you guys doing? You just bitching and moaning. And like I said, I stumbled across this circle of gentlemen maybe 5 months ago when the whole Kanye thing, was real popular. And since then, I see no progress. Just like I've seen from, back in the days, back in the days, there's a history to the Black Manosphere, or the Manosphere period, because it didn't start with these guys. For me, the Manosphere really started with Tom Likas, but I'm not going to go there right now. And I'm going to give some background on what I mean about the history of the Black Manosphere later on. But for what I want to get into now is pretty much telling these guys, you need to focus on the head so you can take out the body. And Tanya TKO is a part of the head. Like, she was one of the first ones out there. And think about her commentary is very insidious. It's quite benign, but it's just as insidious. And it's like, it's so politely wrapped and elegant. It doesn't have the venom, on face value. It doesn't have the venom. But it's there. It's definitely there. And these guys in the Manosphere need to learn how to pivot, because these Black women, or these Black bitches, because there's a difference between a Black woman and a Black bitch. I don't care what anybody says. Come for me. You find out who I am exactly. I'm Paul Raw, but you can figure out who I am if you really want to, you doxing motherfuckers. I'll say it to anybody. There's a difference between a woman and a bitch. Every other group knows that in their own group. So there's no difference between me saying it and them. So there's a difference between a Black woman and a Black bitch. Okay? So one thing I would like to say before I even get started is, for these gentlemen not to focus on somebody like Tanya TKO means one of two things. They're either scared of her and they don't want to, get on her bad side, or two, Tanya TKO is plugged into a network, because all of these podcasters and YouTube influencers have a network that they're plugged into. Like, before this, there was a gentleman called Combat Jack, and before he died, he has something called a Loudspeaker Network. I think Issa Rae has a network. I forgot the name of her network. I think it's called Radio. There we go. So, for all we know, these dudes may not go after Tanya TKO because they're trying to get plugged into the same network, if they're not already plugged into the same network. However these networks work, I would pretty much presume that the networks provides marketing, direction, collaboration with other podcasters, just general managerial duties. So those are the only two reasons I could see for them not going after her, really going after her. And I'm gonna tag this guy called Kid Gravity and have him deal with her specifically too. Even though I don't think he's in the manosphere, even though he did dabble in it the other day. I was on his show. Because he's Caribbean and Tanya TKO is Caribbean, and he needs to come handle his kinfolk because they've become like a problem. They've been a problem. A lot of these Caribbean women have been a problem when it comes to gender warring. This goes way back to Little Kim and Foxy Brown, making it seem like if you don't pay for the pussy, then you ain't shit. Because they're Caribbean. So they've been in the background lurking forever. So Kid Gravity, if you hear this, come get your girl. Okay? Come handle that. Come do your one too. Okay? If you need some help, let me know. Okay? But these guys don't want to focus on her, but I don't know why, because these women are pivoting. They're getting more sinister, more tactical. And before I get into Tanya TKO, I'm going to start off with this one lady. I don't know her name. Let me see. Let's bring her up. This lady right here. Her name is Original Candace Kelly News. There we go. If that's her. I don't know if that's her. It could just be someone's channel, but they use her video. But this lady right here. And I'm starting with this video because it will lead into what really stirred something in me with Tanya TKO. And you see the title of the video. Let's do this. Let's make it bigger. Okay. The title is Hospice Care Wives. And the caption is Don't Be a Hospice Care Wife. Pretty much you can gather what it means, but for any young people who may not know, have never heard of hospice care, which is a good thing. That means you haven't had to grieve over a person's over the loss of a person in your family. But it's pretty much the last, that's where a person goes to die comfortably. So what she promotes is don't take care of your boyfriend or husband or anything if they're dying. I mean, she says that in a roundabout way because that's what it will transmorph into, because she does clarify things, but still the average black broad or black bitch, or even if they're younger, if they stumble across this shit, they'll interpret it as for all black men, even the ones who were good to you. But you'll get an idea of what I mean as we proceed. Here we go. Let's start it.
Sisters, we've got to stop being hospice care wives. We have to. Today, yet another friend I've learned who got married later in life, and I'm talking 45 and above, because it seems that when myself and my friends who have been single women who, wanted to get married when we were 23 to a nice man who built something with us, it didn't happen. And so we turned 45, and then suddenly here come all these brothers,
Okay, I got to stop it there. If you watch my other videos, which I thank everyone for doing, the little bit of views that I have. But either way, this bitch is lying. She's like at least 10 years older than me, okay? Or 12. She's older. In her generation, them motherfuckers wasn't looking to settle down in their 20s. There were too many fucking opportunities, too many alternatives to settling down and being a housewife. I think my mother's generation was the last generation that actually entertained shacking up and getting with somebody and making it work. After my mother's generation, no. They were giving these women every advantage under the sun. Too many advantages to even think of settling down. They got free housing. They got free education. They got free everything. The only thing they couldn't get free is food because the social services office wouldn't, give like food to college kids because, that's why they give you financial aid and housing. You get it? But if they had a kid, which many of them did, they could get free food. And then if they had a kid, if they get in the system real good, they got free food, they got grants for cars, grants for furniture, grants for moving expenses. They had grants for everything. So what she's saying is pure bullshit. She knows she's bullshitting, but she's bullshitting people to lead into something more sinister, like, But here we go. Let's keep going. The hell? The hell's wrong with this? Oh, damn. Woo-wee, boy. Let's see, man. Come on. Let's refresh it and do it this way. There we go.
Sisters, we've got to stop being hospice care wives. We have to. Today, yet another friend I've learned who got married later in life, and I'm talking 45 and above, because it seems that when myself and my friends who have been single women who, wanted to get married when we were 23 to a nice man who built something with us, it didn't happen. And so we turned 45, and then suddenly here come all these brothers, 40, 45, 50, just Rico Suaves. I mean, complete love bomb. They grabbed my friends, they ran them down the aisle. And today I find out yet another one of their husbands has dropped dead. I mean, I just put it that way. He was already sick when he got with her. And what I'm finding is that with a lot of my friends, because we've been professional women, are getting married to these men, and they are simply looking for benefits. They're looking to rest and to nest. It's not in sickness and in health, it's in sickness and in death. So they realize that they can't pee anymore, or their kidneys are failing, or they feel like they are about to have a stroke or have already had one. And then suddenly they meet my beautiful friends who've worked hard to do everything in life, to take care of themselves, to not be one of the 4 or 5 Black women who are murdered every day by mostly Black men. And
okay, let's pause it there because this bitch. Okay, if you saw how her eyes drifted in the distance before she went into this little diatribe, that statistic is been debunked. I don't know how many times. That 4 out of 5 Black women are killed by Black men. I mean, or they die at the hands of Black men. That's a fucking lie. We all know this. The first person to really try to come out and push that stat was I think her name is Lemieux or some shit. Forgot. I know it's Lemieux. It's a French sounding name. It ends with an X. But she was on a Breakfast Club and she said that shit, and everybody knew she was lying. But this bitch, let's get into what she said before the whole 4 out of 5 Black women die at the hands of a Black man. She makes it seem like Black women are all healthy and shit, and none of them are sick. That's bullshit. Man, these Black women out here sick as hell. They just don't tell you, and they don't really have to tell you. Like, they're on blood pressure medicine just like the man. But see, with the man, they are more like noticeable in terms of illness because they can't perform sexually if they're on blood pressure medicine. But these heifers could get on blood pressure medicine, and the only thing that happens is, their clit goes, numb or limp, like, the nigga's dick goes limp, because that is something that happens to them too. Their libido goes lower. But if they want to have sex, all they got to do is get some fucking KY jelly and get it on. So for a bitch like her to sit up here and act like niggas are out here dying left and right and they sick as fuck and these black women are exercising, take care of themselves, just it's bullshit. Like, just look at this lady. Look right here. Look at scar on her forehead. Looks like something like a scar where she fell out from one drunk night out at the bar and hit her head. Her neck has the diabetic creases. Her pores are huge as fuck from not drinking enough water. And if she didn't have all this makeup on her face, she'll look like the crypt keeper. Okay, let's be fucking real. And that's probably why she made this video in black and white. I don't see any other videos from her. Let me see. Nah, yeah, it's just that one. But yeah, so I don't know. It could, she could have chose black and white just for, the aesthetic. But I don't know. Here we go. But she looks sick herself. Just look under her eyes. She has those bags. That's a sign of renal dysfunction. So that shit is dumb as fuck. For her to sit up here and act like black men just don't take care of themselves or anything. When if you go to the gym, you'll see way more black men than black women at the gym. If you go to any track in America, you see more black men at the track than black women. So let me continue.
And they come up, meet my friends, and they run and get married. And the next thing I know, my friends are dealing with millions of dollars worth of medical bills. Not only dealing with the medical bills, but after these men have passed, here come all their grown ugly kids busting up into my friend's house, breaking their noses, carrying things out of their house, and knowing that their dad was living in efficiency. One of them was living with his mother, goes to live with my friend who has a house of her own, and then he passes away, and then here come all of his grown children and grandchildren kicking in her door to take things because they're certain that she's killed him, even though he's been on kidney dialysis for almost as long as, well, I guess a week after they got married. We've got to stop.
Okay, let's pause right there. That's why I told you guys to pay attention to how her eyes drift to the distance. That's her remembering the bullshit that she wants to push. Listen, if a woman doesn't see any signs of renal failure over the duration of their courtship before marriage, something's wrong with her monkey ass. Because I know somebody who suffered from renal failure, and that shit didn't happen overnight. That shit was like a process. They started shaking, they couldn't sleep. It was just different things until that person I knew went and actually got a full diagnosis, and pretty much nagged the medical facility to, really diagnose what's wrong with her, because they just couldn't figure it out, and it was a long process. But to get to the point, this person didn't go to dialysis overnight. It was a process. So for this idiot to sit here and act like, her friend got married on Monday, and then the next Monday this motherfucker's on dialysis, that's a fucking lie. It's fucking retarded. It's just not. It just doesn't happen that way most times. I'm sure there are cases where somebody may have for example, there's this military lawsuit right now that's going around from the Iraq war, where there were soldiers like just flaming chemicals in pits or whatever they were doing, and that shit has sped up the deterioration of their bodies. So that deterioration of that soldier's body could happen faster than normal, under the right circumstances. But that's not the case most times. So what she's saying is bullshit. She's just making up a story, because she would have put that in the story if her friend's ex-husband or deceased husband was a vet. And, she's just fucking lying. But let's keep it going.
Stop this, because here's the thing that we need to get in our heads, sisters. If he did not change y'all's babies' diapers when y'all were 23, 24, 27, you don't need to be changing his pants. If he did not push your babies that you had together after y'all got married in that house that y'all got together in a stroller. Don't push him around in a wheelchair. Like the last funeral I went to was of a sister, a nurse who married a man who had kids. She had kids.
Okay, let me pause it there. I could kind of understand her view. If you didn't put in the work, who are you to deserve any type of help? I understand. Your input equals your output. I get it. But I want you guys to really stick a thumbtack to that part. I want you to remember that part, because I will lead into the video with Tanya TKO and what really disturbed me about Tanya TKO's video, because I know this is all like something that these old broads, because these are old bitches. These old bitches are pivoting, and they're creating narratives and causing disruption in the Black community, particularly between Black men and Black women. And they don't give a fuck, because they're old bitches and they want to have a good laugh and probably ruin somebody else's happiness like they ruined their own. But here we go. Stick a pin in that. I want you to remember what she said. If he wasn't pushing the baby stroller or buying the house with you, you shouldn't have to change his depends. Stick a pin in that. Stick a thumbtack in that. Remember, here we go.
Sister doing just totally fine by herself. Nice condo. Marries him, moves him in. Few years later, he dies. A torso. Diabetes. Had every limb on his body taken off except for his head. He was a torso by the time they put him in the casket. She's left with his medical bills and dealing with his grown kids who feel that even though that condo was already hers before she married him, that they're supposed to be getting something. Stop marrying them.
Look at that shit. Like I said a second ago, when she mentioned the friend on dialysis or the friend's husband that's on dialysis, if somebody had to have a limb amputated, that's a long process. That's not something you can hide if you dated someone for like 5 or 6 months or a year and then married them. Because that's what happens usually. From what I've seen, when people marry later in life, the courtship is shorter. So over that short courtship, there's no way you wouldn't be able to see some signs. Amputees, or in this case, it's most like, or allegedly, because she's lying, most likely, allegedly, in this case, the guy was a diabetic. And that doesn't happen overnight. That's a process, But let's continue, because this bitch, this young Nubian, beautiful goddess. Woo, here we go.
Stop marrying them. If you're not 22 or 23 and y'all are working to build something together, don't do it. Because this is when Black men get 45 in their 50s, they start to realize that they have an expiration date. And that's when they decide that they're going to find the best Black woman that they can find, marry you. They make sure you got benefits and you got a place to stay. And then they want to come and sit in their femininity.
They want to sit in their femininity because they realize, like every other human being, we all have an expiration date. You know how stupid that fucking sounds? Nobody wants to sit in their femininity when they realize they're in their midlife, like they're halfway there. No, most people, when they get in their 40s, they realize there's certain changes they have to make, or they'll have to deal with the consequences. And for some people, sadly, and that's what pissed me off about this video. What's so foolish about this video is because what she's expressing is genderless. There are Black women and Black men dying at a high rate, equally damn near. Black women are most likely dying more frequently than Black men in some areas. But she doesn't want to say that shit. She wants to make it seem like, men are just delinquent and they're alcoholics and they're drug addicts, because that's what it seems like she's insinuating. But in all actuality, those same men were dating women who drank alcohol, was on drugs, and all types of shit. So they abuse their bodies too. Because I do see that happening now. Because I'm an OG officially. I'm seeing that happen. Like a high school friend just died like 2 days ago. This motherfucker is no more than 2 years older than me because I was 2 years ahead of school. So he had to be no more than 2 years older than me. Yes, he's a man, but there's a female that died 2 years ago that was a grade ahead of me. And she's a twin. That was the irony of it. Is like she's a twin. So what was happening with this twin? But bottom line is that is genderless. We are dying at a faster rate compared to every other group due to a lot of factors. We all know the factors. The number one thing is stress. The number one thing is stress. We know why we're stressed. I'm not going to get into that. The other one is lifestyle choices. We know that shit. Like, I know this bitch drinks at least once a week. At least once a week. And probably one of those fishbowl glass size drinks with the fucking Corona bottle, in the drink. I know everybody knows what I'm talking about because we all took a bitch out and she ordered that shit. And we paid the $40 for that shit. However much that shit costs. And shit, I would sip on that shit and I would go, hey, I can't fuck with this shit because this is nothing but sugar and alcohol. This shit, nigga. And the thing about it is, black women do that shit more than black men sometimes because they have higher income for one. For two, they want to party more than men, okay? They want to have fun more than men, okay? So what she's saying is like these men want to rest in their femininity after they run their body rough and rugged in their younger years, even though the women do it too. But let's continue. I know. It's 42 minutes in and let me finish this shit.
But didn't do anything for you. They gave their youth and all of their health and their years of fertility and the years that they could have built wealth to some thought, or just tramped around or bought cars while we were paying extra to stay in safe apartment complexes. We built our careers and built our financial wealth. And then now all of a sudden they want to come in and move into your house and have you to take care of them while they lay up on you. I mean, I could go down the list. I have one friend, married a guy. She was totally doing well by herself, married him. 2 weeks later, he's sick, quits working on her medical insurance.
Again, another fabrication. So they get married, and 2 weeks later, this man is sick. And the thing about it, this bitch is just projecting. Because if you notice what she said, that these men wasted their prime years and their fertility years. Bitch, men don't have to worry about fertility. A man can impregnate a woman until the day he dies. So what she really talking about are the women who she's alleged want to settle down. Now, she's probably childless along with her friends, So it's like she's projecting and she's just making up shit because no one's going to get married and then 2 weeks later, this motherfucker's sick. So you're telling me if this man got sick within 2 weeks, this woman couldn't feel his dick not getting hard in her? She couldn't feel like this motherfucker sweating that night. His heart is beating too fast when she puts her head on his chest. This motherfucker's hands are clammy. This motherfucker got bags under his eyes like this bitch right here from drinking too much alcohol. Are you really... come on, bitch. Come on, man. Who the fuck you think you fooling? Let's go, man. Let's finish. Man, man. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe for your player partner. But let's keep going.
She's got $1 million worth of medical bills. Another friend married a guy. Oh, he was love bombing her. I was in their freaking wedding. And guess what? Year after going back for their 1 year anniversary, I was going to go back there for it. He laid in the bed and died. Heart attack, right? Another friend married a guy. Soon as she married him, he realized that he was sick. He didn't know that beforehand. Gets with her, gets on her medical insurance, lives off of her, and then as soon as he got well from his illness, he left her, and now she's paying him alimony and has to give him a portion of her retirement. Sisters, we got to stop being taken advantage of. We got to stop being hospice care wives. If you want to get with him, go ahead and get with him. If you want to move him in your house, move him in your house. But here's what you don't do. Do not marry him, because then he becomes your financial responsibility.
So she's pretty much endorsing whoredom. She wants these old bitches to shack up. Something they should have done when they were younger, but of course they didn't. Like I said, they were giving everything for free. They were giving the easy route, so they chose the easy route. So she's gonna recommend these old bitches just shack up. And hey, whatever floats your boat, I don't knock that shit, but this bitch, let me finish. And look at the bitch's frown lines, man. They're deep. Deep. Look at the pores. Even though the damn video is black and white, I can see the pores. I can see the shadowing of the pores, deep as fuck. This bitch probably doesn't drink enough water and shit.
And I'm telling you, these black kings, they love to rest in their femininity. They love to come up in your nice house.
Let's pause that right there. Look what she said. These kangs. For all the people not in the know, that's white supremacist lingo. They like, I remember the first time I read that shit. I can't lie, I chuckled. I read it on Stormfront. And you know, the white guys will go, yeah, the Kangs are winning. The Nubian Kangs. They started civilization, the Kangs. I was like, these motherfucking white boys are funny, dog. But hey, man, I find laughter in pain. But you getting back to the bitch. And that's what I suspect as I'm watching this. This bitch is a plant. She's most likely a bed wench. That's why she's stressing the kangs. She's probably going to film it, or she probably filmed this video, logged off, and sucked the white dick after this. Or maybe had a couple of them jack off in her face or something. Because, you know, it's like people, if you let a person talk, they'll just tell on themselves. So let me let her continue. These kangs. Let me take it back a couple of seconds. That shit was funny, man. This bitch. Let's see.
Do not marry him, because then he becomes your financial responsibility. And I'm telling you, these black kings, they love to rest in their femininity. They love to come up in your nice house with your fireplace and lay there and have you to nurse them to death. If you just want to have him and you just want a king, you just want one, here's what you do. Because he's
a kang. She said that shit again. A kang. Bitch.
Gonna move into your house, and then you're gonna put your money together. Then he's gonna take your money to buy you an engagement ring with your money. Tell him don't do that. Take that money and go get him a complete physical. Get a full physical. I'm talking teeth and everything, because most of these brothers have not been to the doctor since they were playing football and had a physical, right, in high school.
And that's one thing I can't agree with her on. Niggas do need to go to the doctor more often. Even I've slipped up in my time on this earth. I've been more attentive than most, but she's right. But the thing about what she's saying is, you know, just look at this bug-eyed bitch. But the thing about this bitch, this bug-eyed bitch, is the fact that she's not telling the full story. The only reason not the only reason. Let me say it correctly. The difference between the medical outcomes between men and women, and in this case, black men and black women, is the fact that black women have a built-in safety alarm system, if that makes any sense. And we all know what that is. That's their menstrual cycle. So if their menstrual cycle is off, they know to seek medical attention. Whereas men don't have that built-in safety alarm system. So these motherfuckers don't know until their leg goes limp, or their right arm is numb, or they just feel not well. They have a not well feeling that doesn't go away with rest or, hydration. So that's the only reason that separates the two genders, is the fact that women have a built-in, safety alarm system. But here we go. This bitch.
School. In high school, and say missing teeth and all this. So look at how much you're going to have to pay.
Look at this bitch talking about missing teeth. This bitch has dentures. At first, I thought they were veneers, but then the bottom part has that gap right there. So that means she has dentures. Talking about, she's on top of or talking about their missing teeth. And that's why her ass closed her mouth. Closed her eyes as she said that shit. Because she knows she sounds stupid. She's missing teeth too. Raggedy heifer.
To sustain him for the next 5 years, because most of them are dying like at 50, before 55. So if you marry him later in life, see how much it's going to cost you to take care of him. And try to look into see what those medical bills are going to be. Okay. Look at his health insurance, if he has any, and make sure that he stays on his health insurance and doesn't get on yours, because yours most likely is going to be better than his, because you will have, built up something and been at your job for a while. Don't put him on your medical benefits. Okay. Once you find out what his health is, then the next thing you do is go get a life insurance policy, no less than $100,000. Get a life insurance policy, go to an attorney, have
bingo. She's damn near giving, or she's like the new old, she's like the new old superhead. She's superhead 5.7, out here giving bitches ways to get over on niggas, getting life insurance policies on niggas. And then, then they'll really feed you that processed salt or sodium rich food, and going back to her friend that she said her husband died a year after the marriage. Yeah, that motherfucker probably fed this nigga all types of shit he's not supposed to eat. He was eating out every other day, and if she did cook, it was processed food like pastas. Shit, I remember my ex brought me some spaghetti, cheap ass spaghetti, to my job one time, and I told this woman that spaghetti tasted like I took a bucket to the sea and dipped it in and drank a bucket of seawater. It was so salty, So this bitch is plotting on motherfuckers to get life insurance policies to possibly take them out. Who knows? All I know is you should already have that anyway. Employers offer that. If you're a part of fraternal organizations, they offer that. You can get it on your own, because you should have that. And also, if you're a veteran, you have insurance, But let's finish this bitch.
a will written up and have him to agree that whatever he walked in with is what he's going to be walking out with. And if he should die before you, which he probably will, then his grown ass ugly kids and grand.
Look what she did, which she probably will, because these bitches know they're sending niggas to an early grave with that fucking mouth, that attitude. You know what I'm saying? That's why not to, poorly segue, but that's why I understand this manosphere shit. I just don't understand I understand their approach. I just don't approve of it, because I know it doesn't work. Like I said in my last broadcast, me and my friends will always say, fuck that bitch. Fuck these bitches. I don't even know how to say it correctly, but we would say it to where it's not audible to, adults, but we knew what we said. But fuck these bitches. Fuck these bitches. Let's go do something. So this bitch right here is really encouraging some shit, because she knows, we all know black women outlive black men, but knowing these bitches, they know this shit and they want to speed the shit up. You know what I'm saying? But let's finish.
Kids and great grandkids can come and get his things in a trash bag, sitting out on the yard, and they can and get all of that. Okay, the insurance policy will be in your name. You will be the beneficiary. Now, if you all decide that if something happens to him, you want to give his kids, some of that, then y'all decide that and put it in writing and also have it on video. Because I can guarantee you this: their daddy could have had prostate cancer and been on kidney dialysis for 27 years, but as soon as he gets with you and moves into your nice house and you clean him all up and something happens to him, they're gonna come running at you and.
Did you see that bitch? She said sick for 27 years, but this bitch didn't find out until they got married. Man, shut the fuck up.
Accusing you of taking his life. Sisters, stop being hospice care wives. If you want to be with them, you don't have to marry them. Do not take any financial responsibility for these men that did not take any financial responsibility for you when you were younger and in your 20s. And some of these young girls, y'all trying to get with these old men because you want to be able to get their social security after they pass away. Okay, let me warn you against that, because some of them owe so much money that you ain't gonna be able to get nothing once you finish paying for their medical bills and paying for all of the expenses that they have because they are sick.
Look at this. Look at this. It's like they don't want a nigga to be happy at all. Like, old bitches shouldn't fuck with old niggas, and young bitches shouldn't fuck with old niggas. And that's her main motivation. She just wants to keep niggas miserable because she's miserable. And she's most likely bisexual. That's another element to this game niggas need to really look into. A lot of these bitches are bisexual. If not bisexual, you might as well call them lesbian because they hate black men. You know, that color purple shit was real, dog. It really took a hold of our woman, and now they're just driving niggas to early graves, and they're deterring anybody from loving a nigga because they probably want the pussy and they want to see a nigga gone. Who knows?
And again, I mean, your granddaddy is fine. You love your granddaddy. When I say fine, I mean like it's great. Like, I loved hugging my grandfather and being there with my grandfather. But it is something that is just kind of gross about an old man that has not taken care of himself. Because many times, if they haven't had a woman to take care of and make them go to the doctor, they missing teeth, they smell like penicillin, shit, and curry, right? Coming out of their noses, hair all up places, missing the side teeth and all that. Stop taking them in.
Did you hear this bitch? This bitch looks like she smells like high cholesterol. This bitch look like she smells like processed meat. And she's gonna talk, bitch, you haven't fasted or juice in forever. Probably never. Look at her. And I bet you if she stands up, her ass is narrow and her shoulders are broad. Man, bitch, please.
Don't let anybody use you. You've done the work. You've worked hard. You've been that worker bee, and you've been a busy ant working. Don't let him come in and take advantage of you. Don't be a hospice care wife.
Okay. So we're done with that. Again, Manosphere, you have to pivot. And especially for niggas like BGS, nigga, you're old. So you should really be against bitches putting this out there into the atmosphere and to have people think it's cool to think this way. It's like, come on, my nigga. You should know, like, you have to go against this type of mentality with just so much passion that the bitch would have no choice but to shut up and apologize. But let's get on to let's get to the main attraction. I use that video to give you background on this next video because, like I said, Tanya TKO is politely disrespectful. So the way she dresses it up isn't as venomous as the sister. I think that one is Black American. I could be wrong. Who knows? But I think she is. Tanya TKO is Caribbean, so she's a little more tactful. A little more tactful. It's just as venomous, but is a little more tactful. But let's get to this bitch, because this bitch ain't. I need to stop calling a woman that. My mother raised me better. But my mother also raised me to know a bitch, not directly, but indirectly. Shit. But yeah, here we go. So, and the irony of this video that I stumbled across, because you can see it came out right here. You can see March 2nd is now, April 16th. And yeah, I stumbled across this. But the irony is, I was thinking about this lady in a video that Tanya TKO is going to review. It's a vegan older lady. It came out maybe like 8, maybe 10 years ago. And yeah, I was thinking about this lady because I juice, and I might as well be vegetarian at the very least. You know what I'm saying? At the very least, I can't do vegan, but at the very least, I can actually live a vegetarian life. I don't eat much meat, you know. But I was thinking about this lady recently, and I did say, you know, because when you watch the video, you'll see the difference in appearance between her husband, who is the meat eater, and her, who is the vegan. But let's do this. Ooh, I'm sorry. I'm an hour in. Let me finish this shit. Oh, let me pause it. The volume's not on. Let's take it back because Tanya, you gotta take her all in because she's so full of shit that you gotta get that full pile of shit and deal with it. Just shovel that shit. Here we go.
How many of you remember Annette Larkin, the 70-year-old raw vegan that looked 40? I want you all to see this right here.
They try to find ways to preserve their appearance, and a Florida woman says she has found the fountain of youth.
She's eligible for a senior citizen discount. Her quest started because she wanted to feel healthy and have lots of energy, but she has reaped more benefits than she anticipated.
And here we have some ginger.
Annette Larkin shows off her garden in her Miami-Dade County backyard. It's full of fruits and vegetables. Every corner.
Look how she's making her face, doing that, that clueless white girl look, the sucked in cheeks, the batting of the eyes, the fidgety moves, like, she's startled, but she's aware. This bitch is annoying. Let me get through this shit. Motherfucker.
Corner of her garden has something that is edible.
And I've been eating them and they're so good.
She also collects rainwater to drink and water her plants. Annette says the food in her garden is her fountain of youth.
I'm very vibrant. I have lots of energy, as I told you before.
I want you to just look at her. I want you to look at her face, right? I want you to look at her face. I want you to see her, because when I saw her story, I was like, oh, I want to be raw vegan. It was actually from her story that I actually did a raw vegan challenge after I saw this video for the first time. This was like 10 years ago. And then I also...
Did this bitch say 10 years ago? This bitch, man, this bitch didn't go no damn raw vegan worth anything. She just dabbled in it and said fuck it and went back to her beef patty and cocoa bread. Man, shut the... Man, let me do it.
Incorporated in more fruits, vegetables, more live grains, all of this stuff because of seeing her story, right? I want to show you what has happened to her because there's an important part of this video that I want you to see, right? Here.
I'm up at,
look at her.
No later than 5:30 in the morning as a rule, and I'm ready to go.
Annette's husband owned a meat store in the 1960s. That's when she became a vegetarian. But as the years went by, she became a raw vegan. She does not eat any animal products. Her food is unprocessed and uncooked.
My diet consists of fruits, nuts, vegetables, and seeds.
But not everyone in the Larkins family eats and drinks this way. Annette's husband of almost 54 years chose to continue to eat the way he did when they were first married.
I really wish I would have did what she's done.
Amos Larkin says people even wonder if Annette is his wife.
They'll ask me, what am I doing with a young girl? Or they'll say, you got your granddaughter with you, and things like that,
Amos takes prescription medicines daily for high blood pressure and diabetes. Annette says she doesn't even take an aspirin. Because friends and strangers kept asking her questions about her health and youthful appearance, she decided to publish 2 Journey to...
Okay, so that was the part that I wanted you to hear because I followed her page. I was looking out for her, but I hadn't seen a video in a long time. And since we've been talking about hospice care wives and hospice care kids.
See? Hospice care. That's why I showed the first video, because I actually saw the first video before this video. And I said, hey, what is going on here? So a nigga can't get some love in his last days. But they're pivoting. While you Manosphere niggas are talking about, Passport Bros, Pookie and Ray Ray lovers, and what else? What else have I heard? Just ghetto bitches. These bitches are pivoting to something that could be irreversible. They're like going for the jugular while you motherfuckers are sitting up here bickering like bitches. Bickering like bitches while these motherfuckers are really going for the fucking heart. But let's continue.
I wanted you to see what has happened to Annette, because this has made me think and really reevaluate dating a person who is on a similar page to you and being in a relationship with a person on a similar page. So let's see what's happened. Let's get the update. So you see there's sad music. You see she's walking down now, right? You won't see her talking in this video. I don't know why, and I don't know what's going on. But I want you to look at her face, right?
Bitch, you know why she's not talking. Stop trying to make it seem like she's an invalid. Bitch, she's not talking to add drama to the fucking video, to add that dramatic appeal. Everybody knows that if you see somebody walking with music, no matter what music, and there's a narrator, especially their voice, it adds some type of dramatic effect. Dumb mother, trying to insinuate like, she's walking, but she's not talking because she has to take care of her husband. She's just so distraught. Oh, she's just, this black Nubian queen.
I want you to just take a look at her face, right? What do you notice? From the vibrant, young-looking woman that we saw 10 years ago to here. And I just want you to pay attention.
Hello. To my social media supporters and followers, the reason I have been less active in the social media environment is that I, along with our son Amos, whom you have...
I want you to take a look at her son. Her son look older than she does.
So if you see her son looks older, why did you clap, bitch? Oh, you think that shit is funny. And let me pose a possibility or theory. What if this woman, besides her taking care of herself, maybe these men are catering to her monkey ass, and that's what's stressing them out. Making sure, Mima has the right seeds for her fruit and vegetables, or to make sure her rainwater, drains down correctly with not as much insects, so she could drink her fresh rainwater. Bitch, shut up.
It's like, come on. And you know what? Listen, she'll probably see this video, and I mean this video with the best of love and respect, right?
Bitch, stop lying. You mean this with the deepest hate in your heart for black men, especially black American men. And that's why I say to you, Manosphere guys, focus your sights on people like her. She's been around for 10 years doing this type of shit. I can remember a video where she pretty much suggested for black women to call the police on black men if they get into a verbal argument because the police are our parents. That comes from her Caribbean culture, because they like, I see that in my family because I have a couple of police officers in my family who are of Caribbean or black immigrant descent, period. And they hold a kind of reverence for law enforcement that we don't. So when she made that video, I knew why she said that, because that's a part of her fucking culture. The police aren't your fucking parents. But I don't have the video up, so I'm not going to go into that. But bottom line is, this bitch just said, I say this with the deepest respect and love. No, she doesn't. But listen what the bitch says. Because she's prefacing her poison so it won't be as, lethal.
But look. You saw how the father looked.
Amos,
Look.
whom you have seen with me in various videos.
Do you see that scowl on this bitch's face as she zooms in on this brother? This bitch is ugly herself. If it wasn't for that makeup and shit and the lighting, she'll look like the fucking crypt keeper. Do you see her fucking frown lines? You know this bitch drinks. But let's continue.
Am now caring for my devoted husband of 64 years. This man never denied me anything. I have always been his queen. Now that my king needs me, of course he takes priority over all else. As I celebrate my 81st birthday, I must remain strong, agile.
So I just go look up the videos yourself, right? Go look up the videos yourself. The reason I wanted to talk about this today is because I want you to consider, right, what it means when you have a life partner who is not on the same page with you in terms of health and wellness and longevity and the vision that you have for your lives. Because and I understand they're older. I understand she's 80, and I understand that in a loving relationship, till death do you part, in sickness and health. I understand that. However, are you on the same page with your partner about what your vision for old age is? Because if your partner is not taking the steps to maintain mobility, health, vitality, wellness, if they are not doing their part, like he was like, no, it's too late for him. Even at that age, he could have reversed a lot of the things going on inside of him. He could have reversed some of them. He was on diabetes medication and all of these different drugs even then. And he had a woman in the house who knows how to prepare raw vegan cuisine. She even wrote a cookbook. She was doing demonstrations on YouTube, right? And now I don't want to say he has become a burden. I don't want to say that at all. I don't want to relay that.
You don't want to say that, but that's what you mean, bitch. That's why you preface this little soliloquy with, I don't want to be disrespectful. I know they married a long time ago. They've been together for 64 years. And it's till death do you part. And that's why I told you to stick a pin in the last video when she said, hey, if they wasn't there to push the babies with you and buy a home, then don't be there to change their depends. This bitch is suggesting even if you are there for 64 years, you're still a burden. What the fuck kind of sense does that make? So this man dedicates his life to this woman, and she's going to make it seem like he's a burden in his last years. And for all we know, he could be older than her. She may be 80, but this nigga may be 95. Who knows? But the way this bitch is making it seem is like the last lady in the other video. Don't be a hospice care wife. You know, you have a right to a beautiful life, girl. No matter what he did for you. Fuck these niggas, girl.
But did he do all that he could do to make sure that he was showing up for their life, for their relationship, for himself, so that now that they're in their twilight years, that they can come together and be on the cruises. I mean, if you look, like, I just look at this couch. It's like, does your partner have the same idea? I mean, if you look, because I was looking at this, my heart sank when I was looking at that old couch and the outdated home, and I was just, my heart broke for her.
Okay, I don't want to make this necessarily about, black immigrants and black Americans, but I got to point this out, man. Look how she's talking about going on cruises, talking about the old couch. This is a part of their culture. Like, I have at least two aunts that didn't get married until they were in their 50s. And they're both full black immigrant, just to be clear. It's like they want to be youthful forever, which is a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But then that is intensified by the fact that they are in America living an easy life. So they want to be youthful and still live this easy life and enjoy life forever. They want to be kids forever. I remember one of my aunts would say, she would always say, I'm like 76 years young. It's like, and she dyed her hair like red at one time. But I love her. But bottom line is, and look how she's talking about the couch and it's old. That couch doesn't look old. What she's looking at is a home that if she lived there, she would fucking renovate the shit and put in a bunch of sparkly furniture, because that's one thing Caribbeans love, is some sparkly shit. And they are into home decor. I can admit that much, because I can remember, going over relatives' homes and they'll change the decor in that motherfucker real quick. You know what I'm saying? Because their community, no matter what they want to say, is their community is very matriarchal. I would even say it's more matriarchal than Black Americans. It's like they run that shit. They just don't make it seem like that for, to save face for Black Americans, but the women run that shit. But the bottom line is, you see how she's focused on the insignificant shit? That's because they've lived the easy life in America. And she's focused on a couch. This Black woman's focused on staying healthy and taking care of her husband and being a good mother. I mean, her son is grown, but you get the idea. She's not focused on a couch. See, this bitch right here, Tanya TKO, is childless, unwed, just sitting up making videos about bullshit. And, so her priorities are very warped. Unlike us, where we have, like, we don't have, like, for people like her, and this is a thought that just occurred to me, for people like her and many other Caribbeans, they know they have an easy out. They are going to go back home many times. I have a relative that I just found out permanently moved back home maybe like a month ago. So for them, their priorities are different from ours. Our priorities are maintaining and sustaining and passing something down, hopefully. But her shit is warped. Let me continue to finish this shit.
And I want us all to consider, right? And so, she got her moves and she's moving and she's grooving. But now that she's 80, where's her partner? Where is the time for them to be together, traveling and cruising and seeing the world? And, and I understand.
You see, traveling and cruising. And that's another thing. See how she says traveling and cruising? They come from tropical islands, right? So it's like, they like, there's a saying that somebody shared with me a long time ago. What is it? You want to live like you're on spring break forever. That's what they used to say. I used to hear from the Islanders or Caribbeans. They want to be on spring break forever, because everybody flocks to their islands, to get, bottomless Bahama mamas. They want to see the tropical, forests and whatever, the fucking turquoise blue seawater and shit. So it's like that's their thing. Like, you know, that's why carnival is in all of their cultures. It's because it's a party, have fun culture. But that's a beautiful thing, but it doesn't jive well with us because we have priorities. But let's continue. Just want to cruise and shit. Oh, damn. Okay. Comment, like, share, do what you do. Help your Playboy partner out, you motherfuckers.
We get into these relationships and anything can happen at any time. And you know what? And look at her even bending. She doesn't have the youthful vibrancy that she once had, right? You see, now she's wearing.
I gotta pause. I just realized, how do you know about her youthful vibrancy based on this video and the previous video? She wasn't dancing in the previous video. She was just walking around. She's bending her knees quite well to me. Shit, old lady may be able to get it. Let's go.
Wigs and stuff, and I can imagine with a love as long as, because they were together, I think 60 something years, with a love as long as theirs, right? You know, the hospice care nurse talked about how, you know, women can move on, but when you're with somebody for 70 something years, what does life look like without them after that? And anything can happen at any moment, but are the things that's plaguing you, are they preventable? Are you doing everything in your power to make sure that you can show up for life, for yourself, for your children, right? So she's 81 now. And look, and she looked 40 before, but her age is catching up with her now. She's still.
No, she doesn't. She looks just as good as she did in the first video. She's fucking 81, nigga. She's doing good. You're just trying to make it seem like this man is bringing her down and ruining her twilight years and shit. Nigga, they were married for 64 years. Again, Manosphere, focus your sights. Stop fucking sitting up here bickering. Challenge this bitch. Stop bring her to the floor. And yeah, Kid Gravity again. I'm going to tag you. Shit. I know she's older than you, but fuck it. You need to check your auntie.
Still doing the raw vegan thing, but she's the caretaker for her husband. She's calling her king, and she's like, he never denied her anything. And I believe her. I believe that the love was strong. But part of loving your partner is taking care of your body. Part of loving your partner is doing all that you can so that when you all do get up there in age, because we're talking about not long after that video was taken. And people are like, I mean, she is 81. Yes, absolutely. And I'm saying nobody can live forever. But this is really a video to have you consider what it means to be in a lifetime partnership with a person, for better, for worse, how it is that you're showing up. What are you doing for your life? This is a cautionary tale. This is never about these people. This is about you looking internally and figuring out for yourself what self-love looks like for you. Part of loving yourself is getting up and going for those walks. Part of loving yourself is not being like, oh, well, it's too late. Nothing. No, part of loving yourself is realizing that the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The next best time is right now. What is it that you can do? Are you in partnership, and are you staying in partnership with a person that you have questions and qualms about whether or not your lives are aligned? This definitely, watching this and seeing this and how heartbreaking it is, has made me think of dating and things to look for in a completely different way.
Bitch, you are 50 years old talking about dating and what to look for. Shut the fuck up. And I don't want to disparage the older ladies. I haven't gone up in the 50s, but I've dated older women since I was a fucking kid. So I have nothing against that shit. But for this dumb old bitch, she's talking like she's 20 something years old. Like she needs to keep an eye out for things because she's still in her prime. Bitch, you're old. Shut the fuck up.
And I just encourage you all, I encourage you to just consider, What is it that you're doing to live your best life? Are you in partnership with a person that's aligned to live their best life as well? Are they making excuses and self-abusing through their food? You all know that I went on a health journey last year and I completely changed my entire life. So this is me.
Did you hear this bitch? Do you see the side by side picture? She doesn't look any better, nigga. She actually looks better in the left side picture than the right side picture. Do you see that shit? In the right side picture, a year removed from the previous video, on the left side, she has fucking blackened circle eyes. What else? She has concave eyes. If you can understand, like, you know, when it's concave, you know, it's an indentation. Bottom line is, you get it, man. Her jawbone looks like sharper than normal. You know, she doesn't look any better. For whatever health journey she went on, she doesn't look any better. She looks actually like the crypt keeper. You know what I'm saying? She looks like she needs some chapstick, or no, for her it's lip gloss. You get the idea. But bitch, shut up. Let me finish this shit.
When I start up, for everybody to come in, we're doing a live call. So this was me from a year ago. And when I was in that body, I did not see myself as I was. I had to take an honest assessment of myself. I was weak. I had deficiencies. I was losing my mobility. I changed the way that I ate. I changed my relationship with food. I changed my relationship with working out. I changed my relationship with myself.
All she's saying is that she cut back on the rice and peas and didn't drink every day. That's all she's saying. This bitch, in fact, if you see what just happened, she switched up the whole fucking thing. Like, let me see if my eyes are playing tricks on me. Let me see. Yeah, see? Yeah. So she, and you know, she's a master at this shit. She's a master. She's been around 10 years. So she, like, now that I'm looking at this, because I didn't notice this the first time. So she most likely noticed during editing that she looked like the fucking crypt keeper while she's patting herself on the back for her health journey. And I'm putting up the air quotes like the typical asshole, her health journey. Motherfucker, please. So what does her monkey ass do? She
was losing my mobility, changed the way that I ate. I changed my relationship with food. I changed my relationship with working out. I changed my relationship with myself. Was it easy?
Oh, look what she did. The master manipulator. She smacked on a ton of more makeup and put around some jewelry around her neck to accentuate, you know, some type of, you know, regal appearance, or, you know, like she's rich or some shit. That's probably costume jewelry anyway. But you get the idea. You see what the bitch did. She knows what we're looking at. Bitch, you didn't have no health journey. Your ass is probably sick your goddamn self while you're talking about a hospice nurse. If a nigga lose weight unexpectedly too fast, because I saw a post where she said she lost 55 pounds over some short amount of time. You lose that amount of weight too fast, that's a sign of illness too. It's not always healthy, motherfucker. She switched it up on motherfuckers, put on more makeup, got her chapped ass lips covered with some red lipstick like a hooker, put more fucking gel in her nappy ass blonde hair. And of course, like I said, she put that damn necklace on, but she made sure to keep the sweater on so she could show her collarbone and shit. Because, you know, them broad shoulder Caribbean women, they like to show their broad collarbone shoulders and shit. But yeah, man, this bitch, this again, Black Manosphere. If you niggas are serious about anything, focus your sights, my nigga. Do something, my nigga. I shouldn't do this shit because I really don't care, dog. I'm good with the bitches. But I'm saying, you niggas are making the game look raggedy, nigga. But let me finish this shit.
Easy? Actually, it was. There were some parts that weren't easy, but I set the intention into the universe that I was going to make a change.
Hold on.
And when I
want to make sure my eyes ain't playing tricks on me. Hold on, 2 more seconds, man. Please indulge me. Here we go. Yeah, So yeah, look at that. She looked at when she was editing her video, she said, damn, I still look fucked up. Let's do this.
With working out, I changed my relationship with myself. Was it easy? Actually, it was. There were some parts that weren't easy, but I set the intention into the universe that I was going to make a change. And when I set my mind and I let the universe know and I let my body know that this is what it is that I expected of it.
No, what her ass did is she set up an appointment at the Mac store and they gave her a good fucking like deal on whatever that makeup box shit that they sell. I don't even know what they call the shit, but girls know what I'm talking about. That's what she made up her mind on. Lying ass.
My body rose to the occasion. I spent the past 2 months not eating a piece of flour. No process. I had
Did this bitch said 2 months, nigga? Nigga. Oh God, this. I need to stop using the B word. I know. I apologize. She brings this out of me. I don't think I use the B word as much in my other videos. I don't believe so. I don't know. But she said 2 months, homie. And this is coming from a guy who tried vegetarianism for 2 years. I know what it takes to really like change your biochemistry if you need to. And 2 months is not enough time. It's just not. I mean, not for her type, especially since she most likely fucking permed her hair all of her teen and young adult years. Her fibroids all fucked up. She drank a gang of liquor on a cruise ship that she wants to go on. But yeah, please.
No flour from December until yesterday. I had some and my body felt it. Like the inflammation. Remember I told you all that I felt like I had arthritis in my knee and I was having issues even squatting down low. I decided to create a change. I stopped with the flour. I started figuring out how to lower inflammation in my body. My knee pain is gone, right? I'm learning what my body is sensitive to. I've learned that I have a sensitivity to soy sauce, even Nama shoyu, which is the raw version of the soy sauce. I have a sensitivity to it. But are we willing to invest in ourselves?
Did this bitch just say she just realized soy sauce is not good for her? My nigga, this is how you know she grew up in New York eating at those fucking Chinese takeout places, eating that shit regularly. That shit is poison. I can remember I came back one time to New York from Cali and my uncle had like a fucking buffet of Chinese food. My uncle had to be like maybe like in his late 50s, early 60s at that time. And I told my uncle, you can't eat this shit. Because you know they put a gang of soy sauce on this shit. I told him, you know you can't eat this shit. So why does this bitch just figure this out? I can remember one of my exes getting a replacement for soy. And I think it was Bragg's amino acid. I need to buy some of that shit. And I think that was a healthier version. It gave you the same taste. And it's amino acid. So it's really good for you, most likely. I mean, from what I remember, I haven't bought it in many years. But this bitch just said she figured out soy sauce isn't good for her. Bitch is 50 years old. You talking about I did a cleanse for 2 months and I stopped eating soy sauce. You know how dumb you sound? Let me finish this shit.
For me, flour is fine. I can eat flour. I cannot, for some reason, noodles, I can't eat regular noodles for some reason. It does not mesh well with me. It causes all types of havoc, but I can eat flour, right? Without much gastrointestinal issues, right? However, are you willing, do you have the courage to eat more fruits and vegetables, to drink fresh juices, to get a masticating juicer and juice? Are you willing to take a multivitamin, a liquid multivitamin or chlorophyll or sea moss, or look into the different things that your body needs? I understand she's 81. I understand, but this is not about her. This is about you and whether or not your partner is an albatross or will become an albatross because you all are just on different pages in terms of health and wellness. Whether
Did she call, or she didn't call this man directly an albatross, but she used this story as an example. So she called a man who dedicated his life to his wife an albatross because he did what every human being does eventually: pass away. We all die, no matter who we are. All creatures on planet Earth die. But he's an albatross. And that's why I said stick a pin in that part of the first video where she said if he wasn't pushing the baby stroller or didn't buy the home with you, then don't be there to change his depends. This bitch pretty much is saying, even for the men who are there, fuck them, girl. Go on a cruise ship, girl. You have the time of your life, girl. You get what I'm saying? It's like this bitch. And like I said, Black Manosphere, focus your sights. She's been around. She's been around longer than 2 years. She's had to been around for at least, let me think, 14 years. I think the first time I saw this lady was in 2009. It's 14 years of spreading poison. And you niggas are sitting up here bickering over where the submissive bitches live. You know, I should go to Thailand. I should go to Philippines. I should go here. I should go to Dominican Republic, Colombia. But this bitch has been around 14 years. And the fact that she's been around 14 years is probably the reason your ass has to go overseas. If you checked your ass a long time ago, you wouldn't have to worry about going overseas. But no, you niggas are just bickering. And I'm going to get into some other shit in 2 seconds. Let me finish this shit.
whether or not you're going to become an albatross for your partner, because these are about looking within yourself. I hope that you all hear and understand the love in which this video was meant and given. As I was uploading this video, I was
The love my ass. And then after she says it, she's a perfect fucking media personality. She knows how to edit her shit perfectly. Look how she ends on love, and then she goes to some sad, depressing shit, and listen to her.
searching for a thumbnail when I came across an update to this story. And it's even more heartbreaking than we previously thought. There's currently a GoFundMe out to pay for his medical bills and to talk about the toll that this is taking on Annette. And I want you to just pause and read and ponder and leave your comments below, because this just further exemplifies the disconnect in ideals and how now in their twilight years, they have to put out a GoFund. Oh my goodness. My heart cries. And I really want to know what you think about all of this, because I'm at a loss just contemplating insurance, end of life plan, precautions, preparations, business setups with all of the fame and infamy and things that she has done, and not having a way to care for your wife in your latter years, and just all of this, and medical expenses, and man, not to mention the son, 2 men around her and no way to come up with $20,000 between them. It just
Did you just hear that shit? And look what the shit says in the GoFundMe. They've been together 64 years, and this bitch is going to say you can't scramble or put together $20,000. Do you know the cost of living over 64 years, especially with a woman with these high standards, my nigga? And she's pretty much saying her husband and her son are such bums that they couldn't get together $20,000. And that goes back to her Caribbean upbringing, because her people could probably pool together some money while we are ruggedly individualistic, which isn't good, I'll admit. But in her mind, it's like she comes from a susu mindset. We come from a strive and thrive on your own mindset, which isn't healthy, I'll admit. But she's shaming this man who was with her for 64 years. And let's read this. This is her son writing. There is nothing that my father wouldn't do to make my mother, Annette, happy and comfortable. My mother's happiness always came first. But this bitch is questioning this man's ability to put together $20,000, even though this bitch doesn't even know if this is just something extra. Sometimes people put up a GoFundMe just to have extra, because that will most likely relieve a lot of stress, especially for an older person who's already grieving, because I forgot the name of the theory where, one, partner dies, and then the stress of that compounded by, all the bills and expenses may cause the living partner to die not too long after the other partner. So you don't know that shit, but this raggedy bitch wants to make it seem like this nigga was a bum and he didn't do shit. And they couldn't, and her son couldn't do shit. Let's put that in there too. Like her son ain't shit too. You know what I'm saying? She already said the nigga looks older than his own mama and he can't put together $20,000. And this bitch is gonna sit here and say that shit. Man, let me finish this shit, because I got one last part to get to, and this is really longer than expected. But let me finish.
Not to mention the son, 2 men around her and no way to come up with $20,000 between them.
$20,000? See, even her accent's ticking me off. She come up with $20,000 just because your ass has lived the easy life, probably living in grandma's basement and shit, or you got the hookup in a room in some extended family's apartment, because that's what you've been doing this whole time you've been online. You've been roommating this whole fucking time. That's why your ass speaks that way. You've been roommating this whole motherfucking time.
It seems like struggle love in your 80s. And it's like,
that's not struggle love, you dumb bitch. That's called life. They've been married 64 years. Struggle love is some shit I thought y'all reserved for your 20s and 30s and 40s, nigga. This is called life, nigga. It's not struggle love, you raggedy heifer.
This beautiful, vibrant woman pairing up with a man who just did not create a way to care for her in the ways that she deserves to be cared for. And then
this beautiful, vibrant woman has been burdened by a man who loved her for 64 years unconditionally. Oh, the tragedy, you raggedy heifer.
Her son, him not even having the ability to step up. And you know what? I don't want to speculate too much about what's going on behind the scenes in their lives, but.
And this is trademark Caribbean shit, man. Oh, God. I don't even know what to title this video. I was going to make it hot takes, but I feel like this may be a snapshot of Pan-Africanism. I don't know, because this bitch right here, oh, God. Like, she's only disparaging this man and her son because they're Black American men, at least on the surface. You don't know what they are, but that's what I suspect. But if her raggedy ass were to do that to a African, Asian, Indian, Caribbean, what else, white man in their family, she knows they'll come after her. But she knows she could say this shit about a Black American man. Because if she did that shit, like, let me give you an example. If she did that shit to a Caribbean, like, what's that bitch? Oh, Amanda Seales. If she did that shit like Amanda Seales did to, I think his name is Ed Roll. I know his last name is Roll, Rolle. Amanda Seales made a false accusation against his Caribbean brother, who's a former football player, now practicing physician. And that whole community came down on Amanda Seales like a fucking pile of bricks. Amanda Seales got on Twitter right after she posted that shit and apologized. So this bitch knows she can, I mean, this bitch, not Amanda Seales, she's a bitch too, but this bitch right here, Tanya TKO, thinks she can say this shit about this man and his son because they're Black American men. That's the only reason. You can't, I'm sorry, man. I would have to sit with Tanya TKO and have a conversation with her and look at her directly in the eye and really test her. The only way she'll probably try to fool me is going into that, Caribbean rage. That shit used to scare me as a kid, but once I got older and I socked a couple of them, that shit's gone. I'm not violent. I'm into nonviolence. I was a kid. But yeah, that's the way she'll most likely respond if I pressed her. Like going to and that's another thing they do. They go into that indiscernible fucking rambling, like boom, but think about it. What they don't know about me is I understand them. I just ignore the shit because I know why they're doing it. They're doing that shit so they don't say something that will offend me, or they think they'll say some shit they think I don't understand, so they know they're not offending me, or they think they're not offending me, and I won't beat their ass. That shit happened to me how long? A week ago. Yeah, a week ago. I was just going to the store, and this motherfucker, they do this. I mean, not all of them, but this motherfucker did this shit, and I couldn't believe it because it's like 2023, and the last time I seen a nigga do this shit was in 1990 something. He took it one nostril and blew snot out the other nostril into the wind, and luckily I wasn't in directly, behind him, but I heard it, and I pretty much saw him put his finger to his nose, and I was like, nasty motherfucker. He's like, what you mean? I was like, come on, homie, stop it. He's like, blah. He was speaking straight, actually. Let me be honest. He was like, what do you mean? What's that mean? I was like, homie, you just blew your nose in the air, homie. I saw you and I heard you. And then, he shut up because I didn't even look at him. But he knows that's nasty. You know what I'm saying? And after that, I'm walking to the store, about to, I'm like a block away. And I see him still walking behind me, and he goes into that. And I just wave back at him. Nigga, I ain't got time for you. Because if he's really gonna do something, he knows what that means. Talk to my back, nigga. You ain't doing shit. If he ran up on me, I'll beat it, man. Let me not say that. I'm a punk. I don't know how to fight. The bottom line is that was very tangential. Thank you for your patience. But if I were to press Tanya, getting back to my point, if I were to press Tanya, that's what she might most likely do. Get into that boom, blah, 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 blah. Think a nigga scared and shit. She knows this was nothing but pure venom. She's been doing this for years, while you niggas up here bickering over bitches and shit and what bitches ain't doing to satisfy you. Man, fuck them bitches. Let me finish this.
To me, this is a cautionary tale. And I want to hear your comments below because this, it gotta be better than this. Oh, man, just please leave your comments below. Be a part of the live show with thousands of other viewers. Go to TanyaTKO.com/text.
Man, what's better than 64 years of love and commitment, my nigga? 64 years of love and commitment and a son that's alive and well. All you got to do is get that nigga some veneers, get him to lose some weight, shave up, probably do a colonic and a fast and shit, and he'll be good, But that's neither here nor there. I'm not here to talk about that, brother. But, let's be fair here. Let's be fair. Let's not just focus on Tanya TKO. Let's focus on the other sites the Manosphere could focus on to clean up house and get shit back on course. If they were ever on course, I don't know. I peek in and out, and I'm like, these niggas are fucking weirdos. That goes for BGS too. Yeah, I like you, homie. You're all right with me, but you're still a weirdo. One of them old LA weirdos. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. See, everybody else doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about when I bring up, your ass being from LA, BGS, if you ever hear this, or anybody, BGS Ibmore, Mr. Radicalized a Negro, and then this nigga spread poison, and then he dies, and then that opens up a fucking whole void for all these other heifers and weirdos to come out the cut. I'm gonna get into a couple of weirdos right now too. But the bottom line is, we got to be fair. It's not just Tanya TKO. It's not just women that these niggas have never set their sight on. It's also the motherfuckers who've been around a long time too. Let's take this down. Okay. So around the rise of Tanya TKO, we all know Tommy Sotomayor was around. I'm not going to talk about him because, you know, he's neither here nor there. The only person who tried to revive him is that punk ass motherfucker Amiri. But let's talk about what they're not talking about in this Black Manosphere. Like, they commented on that Pearly Strings lady heavily, but they seem to stay away from her co-conspirators or semi-co-conspirators. So, you know, what's his name? The homie Bitter Truth put up a list of the Black Manosphere, right? And surprisingly, on this list, there weren't guys who should be on that list. You know, there weren't guys who most likely should be on that list. Let's go through the list, you know, briefly, as quick as possible, not all the way through. You see all the names, that's too much shit. And we've been going for a long time, and I appreciate your patience. Like, comment, share. The Roger, what was that? What was it? The Roger Report Live, Black men being brutally honest. Of course, let's point out the main ones. LAR Movement, Man of Tomorrow, that motherfucker. Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Green Gorilla. You know, you see the names here. All the ones, and Keep It 100s here at the bottom. But surprisingly, Abba and Preach aren't on this list, and Fresh and Fit's not on this list. Why is that? That's some weirdo shit. But you niggas have sat here and bickered so long, and, you know, for my homeboy Bitter Truth, fair use. You know, I'm not playing your audio or anything, but you had the list. But yeah, but to get back to my point, but Abba and Preach and Fresh and Fit aren't on the list, and these motherfuckers all talk about, I mean, both of them, both pairs of Black immigrants, or for at least for Abba and Preach, Black foreigners, excuse me. So for these pair of non-Black American YouTube influencers, they've shared Manosphere ideals or ideas. And, you know, for Abba and Preach, these motherfuckers aren't even in America. They're in Canada. And these motherfuckers are out here saying all types of shit, stirring the pot. I even got into a back and forth with a girl I met online from South Africa. She asked me if I liked them. And I said, no, I'm not into listening to foreigners talk about Black issues because I know you guys don't consider yourself Black. Black is a geopolitical term reserved for Black Americans. Everybody knows this shit. You niggas know this shit. You niggas have told me this shit since I was a fucking kid. But that's neither here nor there. So I've never been a fan of Abba and Preach. But throughout this whole Pearly Strings debacle, you know, throughout this whole thing, right? These motherfuckers never called out these dudes for their treachery. They just never called them out, and when I say these dudes, I'm really talking about Abba and Preach. Let me find this real quick. Oh. Oh, damn, it's going on 2 hours. Let me finish this shit up. Okay, here we go. So, throughout this whole fucking thing with Pearly Strings, these motherfuckers never called these motherfuckers out for saying this shit. Let's do this. And, you know, to my homie, Bunker TV, fair use. One love, baby.
I never did. At the end of the day, do I think she's some kind of race supremacist? No, I don't. Do I think she's a grifter? Absolutely. Yeah, I do. I don't think she believes half the stuff that she says that comes out of her mouth. And then on racial issues, I don't even think that she's some kind of supremacist. I just think she's ignorant. That's it. I just think she's ignorant. And when a man came on the platform and said a bunch of stuff, she just didn't have the wherewithal or the ability to counter anything because she wasn't well read on it.
And it was a lot of things that she was agreeing on that, you know, was whatever.
And do you see how, you know, they'll agree, like they do the good cop, bad cop routine so much. He's a bad cop this time on this shit. He's a good cop. It's like a mind fuck. That's how these motherfuckers learn to get out of their country, playing fucking mind games. These motherfuckers pretty much excuse Pearly Strings for her overt discrimination, racism against Black Americans, saying, you know, the whippings wasn't that bad. You know, what else did she say? She said white people were whipped too. You know, slavery was a gross exaggeration. Oh yeah, she said that racism didn't get serious until the 60s when Black people left the South for the North and all that other shit. I'm like, bitch, just. But let's get back to these motherfuckers. So you motherfuckers are sitting up here bickering. You're not focusing your sights on something that's a problem. These two motherfuckers just excused her. So you motherfuckers will call out the lead attorney for this shit, because I think he did the same shit. Who else? Obsidian. He's another fucking first generation immigrant. I believe he's Haitian. So you did a good job with that one, I guess. And I forgot who else. I think it's just those two. Or somebody else. I don't know. But bottom line is, you didn't call these motherfuckers out. And these motherfuckers have been around a long time. A long time. But their ass wasn't on that Manosphere list, which was most likely submitted to the FBI for whatever incel terrorist report they may create, or what they have created, because I think Bitter Truth showed it. But you niggas don't call these motherfuckers out. Why not? Why don't you call these motherfuckers out? What is it? Oh, Gigi, you're too much of a Pan-Africanist to call them out. You know, are you too scared, homie? You know, I know you with the red, black, and green and shit. You know what I'm saying? Is that what it is? That red, black, and green got you acting like you don't see the shit going on, you know? And, you know, let's go to the other two. Let me see how I can find this shit. Here we go. So you let these motherfuckers slide with this shit. And these motherfuckers have slid like for at least 3 or 4 years. Excuse that. But yeah, these motherfuckers had slid for 3 or 4 years just talking a gang of shit. And let's look at this shit.
What if I told you that you're dumb, you're short, and you're broke because you want to date guys that are older and make more money than you? How'd that make you feel?
Well, I'm not even looking at...
Hold on. Please answer the question. What if I told you that you were dumb, short, and broke because you wanted to date a guy that was taller and made more money than you and more better in every standing? It sounds foolish, doesn't it? For me to say that about you. Hold on. So why is it okay for you to say that men that want to date younger women want to manipulate them?
Damn. Well, I'm gonna keep, because I'm not gonna do an uppercut.
Hold on. I want you to really let that sink in. Like, for real. I want you to let that sink in. Notice how what you wanted wasn't demonized, but what men want is demonized. When a guy wants a younger girl, it's manipulation. When a woman wants an older man that's more seasoned, it's okay. She knows her worth.
Of course.
She a queen. What if I told you?
So you guys have sat back and let this nigga sit up here and badger little girls, because that's what that girl is. She's a little girl. She's no more than 25, 26. Okay, that's what she is. Like, don't get me wrong, she's not a little girl to where niggas don't have a right to fuck her. I don't believe in that shit. And I probably wouldn't fuck with her because they get on my nerves at that age range. But you guys have sat up here and you haven't addressed these motherfuckers at all. I've been, like I said, I stumbled into your circle 5 months ago, and these niggas have had at least 1 or 2 moments where they've degraded Black American men, and you motherfuckers have never stepped up. And that's one thing I like to transition to a point on the man Tariq Nasheed. I can't, like, Tariq Nasheed is a very polarizing figure, but there's one thing I can say about him. This motherfucker checks everybody for everything. Most times, I can't front him up for that. And he's actually one of the founders of this Manosphere, if you want to call it that. Because I don't think he was doing Manosphere shit. He was just doing some old, let's get these bitches shit, like player shit. But that's neither here nor there. But you motherfuckers don't call out these motherfuckers. Why is that, man? And that's why I wanted you guys to go to my community tab and vote on what part of the Manosphere you wanted me to cover, because this is an overall, video. This is a follow-up. This is just by happenstance. Because this Pan-African shit, this what I suspect is Pan-African, is really troubling. You know what I'm saying? You guys just let these motherfuckers just run rickshaw in your culture, and you think it's okay. You know what I'm saying? You think it's all right. And another thing I noticed is the fact that during the whole Pearly Strings debacle, no one's called out the fact that she uses Black Brits in her show. Like, why haven't you guys called that out? That's kind of odd. Like I said earlier, people the world over associate Black with Black Americans. That's just a fact. We all know this shit. I don't care about the individual person who recognizes their Blackness instead of their tribe or their country. I don't care about that. I'm talking about what is the geopolitical definition, the colloquial definition. We know it's Black, but you guys never call the fact out that she never, not she never, but she has Black Brits on her show speaking on Black relationships. But instead of that, instead of calling them out, instead of that, you know what you guys do? You guys don't really, get into the real shit. Instead, you just, bicker, complain about bitches, all that other shit, all that silly shit. And then, while you're bickering and all that other shit, we got motherfuckers like this popping up, and somebody is supposed to really, was really supposed to look at this dude right here. What's his name? Edward Anderson. The only reason I'm bringing him up is because, this guy, the guy with the moles, he's short. You could tell he's short because he's sitting up on the wheel, and that, his head is like right at the car seat shit at the headrest. Short, needs a shave. He sounds kind of fruity when he talks. No offense to those people. If he is, that's his business, but he's in the Manosphere space, and I'm bringing him up because when I was on that live stream with Keep It 100, he popped up, and I didn't know who he was, but I recognized the voice because I heard him bickering before, and he just came in there bickering with me and shit. But these are the motherfuckers that, like, when you guys don't focus your site and clean up house, these motherfuckers pop up. The weirdo motherfuckers. The little motherfucker. Look at him. Look how close he is to that wheel, nigga. Just look at that. Look how he's staring at shit. It's like there's no space between his arms and the wheel. This nigga's a good 5'2", nigga. 5'1". That's why he's, complaining about bitches. And all those damn moles. I mean, stop it. Look at all the moles on the nigga's face. Look at the moles. I can use this one. This one doesn't do the autoplay. Look at the moles. He needs to go to the pimple popper, nigga. nigga. I watch those videos for some reason. I get some enjoyment out of them. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, you know. But to really look at what I really mean when I say you guys need to clean up house and focus your sight is the fact that a lot of these niggas that's been in this space have been around a long time. Like Sergeant Willie Pete has been around for at least, let me do the math on that from the first time I can remember. 15 years. He's been around 15 years. I can remember first hearing him in 2007, 2008. And he was talking about how he eats salad and how black women don't eat salad and that's why they're fat. And I could understand that shit, but nigga, I like big bitches sometimes. So I was like, nigga, you got a point, but shut the fuck up. Because he kept on ranting on that shit. And as he got older, he started getting worse with the ramblings and shit. And it's funny how when I was on the live stream with BGS and Keep It 100 and this guy who popped in, his name is Edward Anderson. Let me go. That's what I was going to be. Yeah, Edward Anderson. They brought up Sergeant Willie Pete. And I'm like, why the fuck you going to bring this nigga up? I thought this nigga was done. And he's not done because this nigga popped back up. You know what I'm saying? This nigga's back to rambling about dumb shit. You know, he's a lot more mature, but he's still rambling and shit. But he popped back up and he's back. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can find his shit. Okay. Damn, nah. I need to make this shit easier. I don't feel like finding his shit. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it's right here. But so with Sergeant Willie Pete, you know, he's been around forever. And since he's been around forever, he has a track record, you know. And since he has a track record, we can look at the sore spots because that's what he is in this whole Black Manosphere shit. He's a sore spot. And for them to mention him, it's like, why would you even want to reintroduce him to your space? He caused the death, or I can't say there's a direct connection, but there was always this suspicion that Sergeant Willie Pete, you know, this is his page right here, Sergeant Willie Pete, you know, let's see what he's doing these days. You know, okay. Where's the chick looking like this at Chick-fil-A? Oh, okay, I don't know about that shit. But yeah, here we go. So he's back to rambling, talking about women, you know, and I always suspected he was a black immigrant, but they say he's not. I don't know. But he's back to rambling, you know, he's getting his views because this is what he used to get, good 2,000, 4,000. But the nigga, that amount of views is a lot for a nigga that rambles. So you niggas want to not clean house, not focus your sights, and this nigga pops back up. And you act like that's all good, maybe. Who knows? But then you guys forget his track record. Why? I don't know. I don't know why you would forget his track record. I really don't. Not for the life of me. And when I say his track record, I mean this shit. Now, mind you, the person who created this change.org petition is a divester. So, yes, she's of questionable origins. But the thing about it is, let me see if I can find it immediately on Willie. Here we go. So let's look at what this woman says. As a current black woman who's divested and has YouTube channel or has a YouTube channel that focuses on advocating for Black women and their daughters. I've noticed the ongoing hate from Black men since the Asia McGowan case, where a Black man named Anthony Powell murdered her at the same college where they both attended in Michigan in 2009. Justice was not served as Anthony ended Asia McGowan's life in a homicide/suicide incident. He was mentally ill, was inspired by a YouTube content creator named Sergeant Willie Pete, who is still actively on YouTube. But yeah, so around the time when this happened, as she just stated, in 2009, we all suspected that shit because we all saw this guy Anthony's video like popping up here and there. And, you know, I saw his video and I said, hey, this guy's kind of off. And he was parroting the same talking points as Sergeant Willie Pete, you know. And then suddenly he shoots this girl. And it's like, why would he do that shit? It's like, what is going on here? Like, why? Like, what is that? Like, where'd that come from? You know, because the guy wasn't, you know, an unattractive guy. You know, he just wasn't an unattractive guy. Look at him. You know, he looks like a regular old big husky nigga. You know, look at him. And the girl was a cute little girl. Look at her. That's Asia McGowan right there. Cute little girl. They could have been a good match. It's just that he was most likely up in Michigan in the fucking cold ass winter, maybe, stuck in the house, listening to Willie Pete, not getting it out, getting some fucking air, living life. And nigga went bonkers. I don't know what happened, but it was always suspected that he listened to Sergeant Willie Pete's videos because some of his videos he quoted them, and I think the FBI found or police found, you know, a cookie or whatever search history, YouTube history of Sergeant Willie Pete videos. But look at her. She's a cute little girl. He could have been a handsome young man with this cute little girl, and he was like 7 years older than her. He should have been able to mac her easily. Nigga, when a nigga turned 28, the 20-year-olds and the 19-year-olds, nigga, they were, nigga, that wasn't shit. Nigga, shit, they would stare at a nigga and a nigga would be able to get at them. Because they're intimidated and they're kind of curious. But yeah, but they bring up Sergeant Willie Pete without going over this incident, you know? And it's not just that person who made the change.org petition. It's not just that, because like I said, she's a divester, a self-admitted divester, so you don't know. But I remember damn, what the fuck? Here we go. Oh shit, this shit is going past 2 hours. Here we go. Even at the time, Sergeant Willie Pete, not Sergeant Willie Pete, Tommy Sotomayor, this is his website, and I hate to go there to give him any clicks. Even on his blog, he put up there, Asia McGowan was murdered by Anthony Powell, not Sergeant Willie Pete. Stop saying it. It's because these niggas knew what they were doing. And you know, you could maybe attribute some of Anthony's motives to Tommy Sotomayor. You don't know, but we know that he quoted Sergeant Willie Pete a few times in videos. And, you know, so when you to bring this home, to make it clear, when you guys are in this black manosphere, this bickering, you're causing more problems when you don't focus your sights. Because at that time, when Sergeant Willie Pete was around, and Sergeant Willie Pete wasn't some dumb little kid, because I think Sergeant Willie Pete may be like 10 years younger than me. He didn't focus his sights, you know. he wasn't clear and thorough like people like Brother Logic and shit. You know, that's one guy I can remember, Brother Logic. He was more focused and serious. He was, let me see if I can find his page. But remember this, Agent McGowan was murdered by Anthony Powell, not Sergeant Willie Pete. Stop saying it. You know, so these niggas know what they're doing. But let me see if I can find this brother so you know who I'm talking about. But he would go, you know, before I bring him up, Brother Logic, he would go a little too far too, but then he would reel himself in. And then at the time, I didn't know if he was a Black American or a Black immigrant, but he, you know, for better or worse, he has a Black American orientation, even if he is Caribbean. You know, you could tell he's lived a Black American existence in New York specifically. So I think he would reel himself in when he went too far. And I know that for sure because recently he had a video where he was talking about David Carroll. That's another guy that was in the beginning of the Black Manosphere. Real negative guy. God rest his soul, but he was speaking on his death. Brother Logic was speaking on Brother of Logic and Common Sense. That's his full name. The Brother of Logic and Common Sense was speaking about David Carroll's death. And he was like, man, I have to decide whether, I'm going to find a woman or I'm going to live alone. And somebody may, have to come find me decomposing in my apartment, And that's the thing. He's coming to the light. He's realizing some things like I mentioned earlier. This discussion or these discussions you guys have in the Black Manosphere, I've had since middle school. So I've realized there's some things like a man needs a woman, dog. I don't give a fuck what you think, man. A man needs a woman. All right, man. That's just what it is. I can't, man, go talk to God about that. He didn't make us asexual for a reason, okay? But bottom line, a man needs a woman. But to go back to that Anthony Powell guy who killed Agent McGowan, he was religious. So he could have gone to church, and found a woman maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like going back or getting back on track. I don't want to ramble. I don't want to do what I accuse others of doing, even though there's nothing wrong with it if you follow along. Going back to setting your sights, Black Manosphere. If back in the days, Sergeant Willie Pete, David Carroll, or who else was out, Tommy Sotomayor, focused their sights on where these Black men they're complaining about, or these Black men they're complaining for, focus on where they could have alleviated that grievance and focus your sights on that. And one of the places is the Black church. If Tommy Sotomayor, Sergeant Willie Pete, focus their sights on the institutions where these men used to be able to find a partner, because it's a long-running joke that the freakiest girls are in church. I don't know too much about that. I only went to summer revivals and, church periodically. So I didn't get to delve into that. Actually I did when I used to do these youth outreach programs at a church. Yeah, they were, that. But other than growing up, I don't know that experience. But bottom line is all of that dogma and Bible passages, it creates some type of sexual frustration, I heard. Okay. If Sergeant Willie Pete and David Carroll and even the brother of Logic and Common Sense set their sights, like I'm instructing you, Black Manosphere, to set your sights, you could diagnose the problem and solve the shit instead of sit up here bickering. Had they set their sights back in 2009 saying, hey, why is the church driving out the men, the straight men? That could have gave Anthony Powell some insight on what's going on in his life, because he was very religious and he was a religious zealot. His ass should have went to church. And, you know, that would have calmed him maybe, if not to find a woman to give him some grounding. But no, these motherfuckers sat up here and had this nigga going crazy and shit. But, you know, I think we're done here, man. Because, again, the irony, my favorite word, the irony of this whole thing is I stumbled across this sector by, you know, opposing these Manospherians' defense of Kanye West's anti-Semitic comments, because I said, hey, you can't focus on one segment of white supremacy. You got to focus on the whole thing. You got to get each ethnic white group, you know. But now I'm telling you guys, if you want to focus on something, use that strategy. Focus on these motherfuckers that are out here now doing this shit. And I don't just mean fucking Cynthia G, because Cynthia G is such a fucking weirdo. Like, only a person with mental issues would listen to her. They need to create an FBI list for her listeners, because they listen to her. Even in the beginning, she was like white devil, this devil, that. I was like, hey, bitch, the fuck are you doing? Shit, I put my kufi away a long time ago, bitch. Shut that shit up. The devil is not a color or race, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, if you focus on these sore spots, like I said, Tanya TKO, Auburn Preach, Fresh and Fit, because that's why I brought up Tariq too. I think I may have neglected to mention that. Tariq called Fresh and Fit out. You know what I'm saying? You know, justifiably called them out because they were fucking cooning. But you niggas want to sit up here and bicker and shit instead of setting your sights. And that's it. That's all I got to say. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do what you got to do, baby. Let me double check, make sure I got everything out in the open. Yeah, everything's out in the open. I'm done here because this shit is like, ugh. You niggas make me sick. Oh, let me share this shit. Let me see. What's the name of this shit again? Okay. You know, like, while Gigi, while you're sitting up here doing articles and all that shit, which I appreciate because you're a very intelligent man. Or BGS, while you're sitting up here babbling with people like Edward Anderson and just, going into long diatribes about whatever technology you think you know. Whatever, man. Why not, analyze certain things, Because honestly, these bitches aren't going to let up. They're coming from every fucking corner, and you have an unlimited amount of material to really focus and analyze. Let me see. Can I find this shit? Damn. I hate this. I need to stop doing this shit. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Came right up there. So, yeah. Like this bitch right here. Like, listen to this bitch.
A lot of the single women, they talk about how bad the dating scene is. And you're absolutely correct. Because I feel like the men in this era now, like back in the day, we had men that provided provisions and protection for us.
See, for you, Gigi, maybe you don't want to call out because you were one of the men that provided provision and protection, because what she's talking about are fucking drug dealers. See this bitch? This bitch is a good 52, 48, least. So what she's talking about is fucking drug dealers that poison the community. That's who the fuck she's talking about. Okay? Go over this type of shit for a hot second. Put these bitches on Front Street and let them know, like, bitch, you're not saying something monumental by saying the men we had were better than your generation of men. They took care of us. They took care of you by fucking killing their own community. They probably had your mama strung out on the shit too, but they were taking care of you, huh? Dumb bitch.
Now, in this era, we got to deal with the men that want to ask you what you bring to the table. That shit wasn't even a topic of discussion 20 years ago.
See how she said 20 years ago, nigga? Do you see how she said that shit? That's fucking 93. No, 20 years ago. It's 2003. Excuse me. That was, people still selling crack at that time. I remember that shit. There weren't as many crack spots, but niggas was smoking crack. I remember niggas was smoking crack. Yeah, they was smoking crack still there. So this bitch is taught, and this bitch, if she talking about 20 years ago, so I mean she's a good 45. Yeah, so she was like 25. Or she could be 38. She was 18 at the time. And dope boys took care of her because she didn't have much, to take care of and shit. So you niggas need to look at bitches like this and put them on Front Street and factor them into your analysis on why these bitches act this way. Because this is somebody's mama to a 20-year-old bitch who's like, look at the bitch who's down here reviewing her video. She looks like she's 25. She's a good 48 and shit. You know what I'm saying? 23 years older than her and shit, giving her advice on what she should expect from a man. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing I'm going to go into for 2 hot seconds. What I've always noticed is, for at least for Black American men, I'll stay with Black American men. We got to fucking be suited and booted to get these bitches to think we're attractive or suitable. When you see these fucking white boys, these Asian guys, Indian guys on dates, these motherfuckers look raggedy as hell. We gotta have on $300 shoes. This motherfucker got on a pair of $40 Vans and shit. But we gotta be top of the line. But yeah, when you guys don't focus your sight on bitches like this, it makes it very hard for you guys to really. You make your shit look like Mission Impossible. And honestly, not to give Kevin too many props because I wasn't a huge fan of his, he confronted this type of woman. And I think that's what made him popular. It's like confronting her, confronting the elephant in the room. You were the problem. You, not all black women. Like I said, the black women and black bitches. Did I mention that? There's a difference between black women and black bitches. Okay? So she's the black bitch.
Ain't no man asked no shit like that to no woman because he automatically knew, especially the type of woman that he was trying to catch or, get with. He already knew what he had to do. Didn't ask you no shit like what you bring to the table. But now we got to face with that in the dating scene. And not only that, but there are a lot of undercover brothers out here that's still too insecure to live their truth. So
see what I'm saying? Focus your sights. This bitch is a big ball of confusion. First, she's saying, these men that you guys are dating aren't up to par. They don't have the money. And now she's saying these guys on the down low. So it's like, it's either you're broke or you're gay. It's like, bitch, shut the fuck up. We just don't want to fucking take care of your ass and your pussy's not lined with gold. Okay? Okay, bitch? Shut the fuck up, man.
They don't really want the Tamikas. They really actually looking for Tyrone. A lot of the single women.
That's it, man. I just want to share that. Focus your sites, Black Manosphere. They got endless material out here you can review and incorporate that with some solutions. Like get like that for that Anderson dude, the Edwin Anderson, you need to go see a dermatologist. For Man of Tomorrow, you need to go on a diet and make sure you take your fucking mood balancing pills. Who else is out there? I can't think of anybody else. For Marcus, stop giving up on your goddamn sisters. You can't survive without them. You can't go against the laws of nature, nigga. You're not an alien. Shit. What else? Who else? Bitter Truth, you seem good. You recognize shit, and plus you got an exit plan for your shit, and you're not necessarily talking about bitches too much. I can't remember you really doing that heavy. It seems like you grew up in Atlanta and you had your heyday and you did good. You just don't like how these bitches act. And that's your right, but you're not sitting up here bitching and moaning about these bitches. But yeah, I'm out of here, man. Let me stop this show. God damn, I talk too much. One love. God bless, man. Let me take this down. end it here. One love, like, comment, share, subscribe for your Playboy partner, and take care.